Yeah, talent acquisition leaders are experts in what they do. But when I talk to talent acquisition leaders, they don't feel like they're treated like experts. So we want to help all of you build your personal brand so that you can get the respect you deserve.
We've broken it into 9 key areas that makes it really tangible and tactical to follow.
So the document in question, which will show you some sneak peeks and some ideas around it, it is for free, absolutely ready to download. Just go to peoplemba.com.
We thought we'd start here because we think a rising tide raises all ships. At the macro level, we think it's important to help TA leaders be taken more seriously, to be appreciated, and if we can help increase the authority, the gravitas, and the positioning of what you're bringing as a professional, we think that's a great place to start to really lean into our mission.
For TA leaders who are ready to get their seat at the table, the People MBA. Subscribe at peoplemba.com for access to all the guides, templates, and other tools. This episode is being brought to you by Happy Dance Career Sites and Employer Brand Labs. So visit them, I guess.
Find some clarity. What and how would you talk about what a personal brand is?
I think your personal brand is leverage. It's how you earn trust. It's how you get attention, and that can be good and bad. And how you access the people that really matter inside an organization.
Fundamentally, it's the promise you make. It's how you self-create. It's a tool for self-creation, I guess, more than anything else. It's saying, look, TA leaders across the world have 90% the same set of skills anywhere you go. What is up with you? What are you bringing to the table? Who do you want to be? How do you want to be seen? How do you want people to perceive your value?
I think it is fair to say it's not enough to just talk about what you've done. You need to show how your work directly aligns with the goals of senior leaders and how it impacts commercially or furthers the agenda of the organization that are already existing priorities. And when you start to think like that, and you start to reflect on, like, am I doing that right now? Well, maybe I am, but I'm not showing up and showing off those things.
But I think it all comes down to intentionality. You have to decide, looking at your own strengths, who you are, what you're trying to achieve, who do you want to portray yourself? How do you want to, what part of you do you want to bring to the table that's going to get it all done? Because honestly, without this kind of intervention, without your decision about how you want to be seen, spoiler, someone's going to do it for you. And it's not going to be to your benefit. They're going to pigeonhole you and say, this is who you are and this is what you're all about. And you're stuck.
We've put this document together. There's 9 tangible tactical sections to it. And we've tried to make a step-by-step and also make sure there's something in there for everyone. So if somebody's already thinking strategically, but they're looking for some tactics, then, there's something in there, and sort of vice versa in terms of where do I start and that kind of stuff. If we think about personal brand strategy, how do you sum that up? The difference between sort of showing up every day and just doing your best versus having a plan and, a bit of a longer sort of view of what you're trying to achieve.
Can you do good work without a personal brand, without thinking about your personal brand? Yes. Is it like 10 times harder? Yes. Like it's like saying, do you want square wheels or round wheels? The round wheels are your personal brand. If you invest, you're going to get it done faster. You're going to get it done easier. And let's be fair, the word easier and TA leader is almost never said in the same breath.
If we're going to say you are operating strategically, it all comes down to this. What does success look like in your specific environment? What do I mean by that? Okay, what are the obstacles in your way? What are you trying to achieve? What does success look like? And this is where there needs to be a real sort of analytical, maybe even self-reflective view of, what traits are most valued by the company that you're aligned and comfortable with, that actually would be a really light lift to dial up? And what difference would that make on a daily, monthly, annual basis? What competencies, easy for me to say, do you need to be known for to get heard or get noticed or get listened to? And I think that's not the whole strategy, but for me, that's a really good view of the landscape, reflecting on what do the challenges ahead look like? What does success look like? What am I working with in terms of personal strengths and weaknesses, and and making a plan that's very intentional based on those basic components to begin with.
Every brand, and we are branders, so we know this to be true on our DNA level, is both good and it is both bad at the same time. There's no such thing as a perfect brand. If you are known for being nice, people might like you, but it also means people may not see you as giving honest and objective feedback. If people think you're a little salty, they might appreciate the honesty. They may not want to confide in you when they're having a bad day. There's pros and cons to every single brand. So do not think that there is some sort of key you unlock and suddenly you are better. This is all about saying, who am I? Who do I want to be? How do I want to be seen? What is it going to take to get there? And do I appreciate the cons and the baggage that come with any decision I make there?
Relationships where there's a two-way value exchange and it's like an admiration and respect, and you figured out how to communicate with those people in their language with the priorities and preferences that are atop of their list. I would say that's a tactic that you can intentionally make a game plan for.
Those relationships do not happen in a group. Those relationships are generally started and built one-on-one. And I think one of the things that TA leaders have an opportunity to do is to build more one-on-one relationships based on their role, based on how they do it. They just have to lean into it. That one-on-one about talent intake or about talent strategy or expectations for next quarter, expectations for next year, those are generally one-on-one meetings. And it's not just about what's on the agenda. This is the place to say, how am I going to understand how I'm seen and help influence how I want to be seen?
Building relationships one-on-one, the more insight that you have on how your peers like to receive the ball, what they appreciate in terms of a contribution from you as a peer, those little things are going to make a huge difference. And it might just be the difference between who do I go to ask this question, or who do I trust the most, or who do I think has got my back, or all of those things. And if you take the time to really listen and build those relationships, I think it's that type of benefit that you get. If you're doing great work, you're getting great results, or you've had ideas, or you've tested something that works and all the rest of it, is to share those insights consistently, both internally to bang that drum and demonstrate that you know what you're talking about and elevate your position internally, but also on LinkedIn to increase your influence externally as an expert. Now, this is very tactical, but if you can flex that muscle and get into a routine of looking for some value on a regular basis to share, that will be noticed, it will be appreciated, and you will be associated with smart insights that are moving the industry and your organization forward.
My last tactic, really quick, is simple, but at the same time, so not simple. It's the ability to take a victory lap. When you do solve a problem, when you do achieve a goal, when you do something that is impressive or people didn't think you could do, don't just do it. You have to take a victory lap. You have to walk around that office and let people know that you did it without looking like a schmuck, without looking like a jerk, without looking like a glad-handing, backslapping, self-aggrandizing jerk. But you have to show the value.
Speaking at industry events, but I'm going to give you some caveats though. Because this can actually damage your personal brand if you go about it in the wrong way. Now, I don't want to put people off this. You don't need 10 years experience to earn the right to speak on stage. What you need is something of value to share. And that doesn't necessarily mean a massive success or a new amazing sort of, reinventing the wheel sort of moment. It could be a case study, and it could be a story, it could be a campaign and a review, or some element of strategy that has worked, or whatever. Vulnerability is the most underrated thing on a stage in a community of TA leaders that I've ever witnessed in getting on for 20 years. So actually talking about failure, it takes confidence to do that, and it's admired. As long as you can then analyze it and be insightful about what you've learned and all the rest of it, and be generous with the reflection of that.
That's really what we're talking about, is the more you can show your personal brand, it reinforces the function brand, and it helps you get that chance to tell leadership, we're not a cost center. We are actually driving value for the company. We're not just doing it quietly. We're doing it obviously if people would have eyes to see it.
Thanks for watching the short version of this week's episode on personal branding for TA. Do you think that's really Brian's real accent? Anyway, if you'd like to check out the longer version, subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts. And to get access to the document they keep going on and on about, subscribe at peoplemba.com. Or don't. Your call.